PSC's Federal Acquisition Reform Conference gathered attendees from industry and government in Arlington, Virginia on July 10, 2017 for a half-day of sessions exploring the legacy of acquisition reform efforts, the potential of current initiatives, and what it all means for the national interest business base. PSC President and CEO David Berto kicked off the event by summarizing various issues that have faced federal acquisition reform efforts for decades, from the disconnect between contracting and program offices, to the government's workforce challenges, to the security clearance backlog and its significant impacts on personnel, agencies, national security, and contractors. As keynote speaker, OFPP Associate Administrator Matthew Blum provided an overview of the Trump administration's interrelated activities to transform government through agency reorganization, regulatory reform, and innovation. He also stressed that the administration has created multiple avenues for stakeholders' involvement and praised PSC's long-standing leadership and engagement on many of the reform efforts. Following Blum's remarks, Booz Allen Hamilton Executive Vice President Trey Obering and Missile Defense Agency Director of Acquisitions Laura DeSimone discussed how agencies are taking advantage of streamlined acquisition authorities to rapidly develop and deploy new capabilities. Obering stressed that the U.S. is fighting tomorrow's wars today, but that the government's ability to innovate is stifled by a process-oriented acquisition mentality. DeSimone highlighted how MDA is making effective use of existing flexibilities and streamlined capabilities to achieve its missions. Both stressed the need for a culture shift, which DeSimone asserted must be driven by leadership. The final panel of the day featured Angela Billups, Deputy Chief Acquisition Officer and Senior Procurement Executive at the Department of Education, Elliot Branch, Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Acquisition and Procurement, and Bill Greenwald, Senior Advisor for Research and Defense at PSC. The panel assessed where things stand after many years and many cycles of acquisition reform, and what lies ahead in the agencies and from the Congress. Dr. Billups said that program managers need further training, and the government needs to optimize the capabilities and resources currently available to them. Branch asserted that acquisition reform is part of a larger policy discussion about the role of regulation, while Greenwald looked at the historical progression of acquisition reform, noting that waste, fraud, and abuse became the focus of reform efforts a dozen years ago, rather than substantive acquisition reform allowing for more innovation within government. The conference also benefited from a thought leadership article on how continuous market surveillance empowers outcome-oriented acquisition, provided by Tim Cook, ASI Government CEO and a member of the PSC Board of Directors.